Wind tears at your face, your lungs burn, the horse beneath you is already lathered in sweat, and you can feel its heartbeat hammering through the saddle. Somewhere behind you, a message is sewn into the lining of your coat. You do not know exactly what it says, you only know it cannot be late. The steppe stretches flat and endless in every direction, grey grass bending under a sky that never seems to end. You press your knees tighter, you do not look back, you are a rider in the Yam. The relay network built under Genghis Khan to move messages across the largest connected empire the world has ever seen. It is the 13th century, your empire stretches from the Pacific coast of China to the edges of Europe, and no single messenger could ever cross it alone. Instead, riders like you are stationed along fixed routes, at stations spaced roughly 25 to 40 miles apart. Each station keeps horses fed, rested, and ready. When you arrive, you do not stop to sleep, you hand off the message, or in some cases, keep riding yourself with a fresh mount, and the empire keeps breathing. Today, your job is brutal, even by Yam standards. You have been ordered to cover roughly 200 miles before the sun sets twice. That means riding through the night. It means switching horses again and again, sometimes barely slowing down as a new mount is brought alongside yours. Some riders on urgent routes wrap cloth tightly around their ribs to keep their bodies steady through the pounding rhythm of a full gallop sustained for hours. You have done the same this morning, and you can already feel the fabric digging into your skin. The stakes are not abstract to you. If the message is a warning of an approaching enemy force, arriving late could mean a garrison is caught unprepared. If it is an order from a Khan reorganizing troops before a campaign, a delay could break the coordination between armies separated by hundreds of miles. You have heard stories of riders who failed to arrive in time, and you have heard what happened to them. Failure here is not just a professional embarrassment, it can be a matter of life and death for you and for the men waiting on the other end of your route. Your horse's stride begins to falter. You feel it before you consciously notice it, a small hitch in the rhythm that tells you this animal is close to its limit. Up ahead, through the haze of dust and fading light, you see it, a low cluster of felt tents and a wooden post. One of the relay stations built specifically for riders like you. A boy runs out before you even fully stop, already leading a fresh horse by its bridle. You do not dismount slowly, you throw yourself from one saddle to another, in a single practiced motion, barely losing momentum. Behind you, the exhausted horse is led away to recover, and you're already moving again. This exchange, repeated at station after station, is what made the system work. Historians studying the Mongol Empire have noted that this relay network allowed information and orders to move at a speed unmatched anywhere else in the medieval world, sometimes covering in a single day what might otherwise take a courier on a single horse nearly a week. The Venetian traveler Marco Polo, writing decades later, described these stations and the riders who used them, marveling at how quickly news could travel across such enormous distances. To Polo, coming from a Europe of fragmented kingdoms and slow, unreliable roads, the Yam looked almost impossible. Night falls and the temperature drops fast. Your breath fogs in front of you and your hands go stiff around the reins. You think of nothing except the next station, the next horse, the small burning point of light you hope will appear on the horizon before your body gives out. Somewhere in your chest, beneath the exhaustion, there's a strange kind of clarity. Fear and fatigue like this can sharpen the mind. Your senses stay locked onto the terrain in front of you, every shadow checked, every dip in the ground anticipated a half second before your horse reacts to it. By the time the sun rises for the second time since you left, you're barely holding onto the saddle. Your legs have gone numb, your mouth is dry enough that swallowing hurts, but ahead of you finally is the walled outpost that marks your destination. You do not remember dismounting. You remember someone catching you as your knees buckle, and you remember pressing the sewn message into another rider's hands before your vision blurs completely. What happens next is not part of your story anymore. The message moves on, carried by someone else toward whoever needs to read it. This is how it worked. Again and again, across an empire so vast that no single person could ever see all of it at once. Historians estimate that the Mongol relay system, at its height, maintained thousands of stations and tens of thousands of horses, all coordinated to keep information flowing faster than any land empire before it. It was not just brute endurance, it was logistics, planning, and discipline built into a system designed to outrun distance itself. What this moment reveals is something deeper about how empires actually function. Armies win battles, but empires survive on communication. Long before telegraphs or telephones, the ability to move a decision from one place to another quickly enough to matter was itself a kind of power. The Mongols understood this instinctively, and they built an infrastructure around human endurance to make it possible. Every rider who pushed through pain and exhaustion was in a very real sense an early piece of a communications network centuries before anyone had a word for that idea. Today, a message can cross the same distance in less than a second, carried by cables and signals instead of horses and riders. But the underlying need has not changed. Information still has to move for decisions to matter, and someone or something still has to carry it. You were that carrier once, riding through the dark with someone else's urgency sewn into your coat, trusting that speed itself could be the difference between order and chaos. The wind is still tearing across that same stretch of steppe tonight. It is only the shape of the messenger that has changed.